Okay, so I'm gonna describe this newer spaceship technology. So let's grab that one there. So let's look at the So these are the visible electromagnetic radiation waves here. So if a spaceship wanted to fly to a different planet, it would ride that wave of electricity there, that orange one. So that's a representation of the Star Trek Enterprise. That's my warships that I got that are vengeance. They don't look like that. My spaceship looks like this. It's a circle. So what typically happens is um, these bad guys, they plunk in where they want to go, and the evil grandmother and grandfather that is this electrical wave here, they'll fly them to their planet in the Milky Way. There's only 1,408 planets in the Milky Way, so they plunk in whichever one they want to fly to, and the evil grandmother and grandfather flies them to those particular planets in the Milky Way. So if we tried, asking our spaceship to fly to one of those planets, the spirit that is this wave wouldn't comply. It wouldn't comply with our spaceship because our spaceship is positive and they're negative. So we had to find a way around that. So the way around that is to purify the hydrogen in the universe right here. So our spaceships here, these are 200,000 years ahead of these spaceships here. This is older technology. This is newer technology. So you see up here, they don't rely on those waves to fly around. They don't need that visible electromagnetic radiation wave to fly to all the planets in the universe. So this is the what I put in the book. Um, my nose starts running. So this is a hydrogen atom. It's made up of a Earth proton and a fire electron with an orbit. So this is what powers the stars, right? So these things get sucked into the stars. So they're everywhere. It's everywhere in the universe. So I've scaled this model up to look like this. So there's the Earth proton in the middle and the fire electron. And I've created a solar system. So this would be like our sun and our Earth here. So that you could scale them up. So if we scaled up a hydrogen atom to the size of a solar system, that's what this represents. So that electricity combines with that magnetism, there's an invisible force field in between these two. That's what this circle represents here. There's a force field that holds that electron in place here, or through electromagnetism because of that Earth proton and fire electron. That's what electromagnetism is. One is Earth and one is fire. So that force field that you can't see because of the atom being so small would look something like this. So there's a magnetism side, and then there's an electricity side. So right here you can't see it, but there'd be a force field there. It's that force field that is holding that electron in place as it orbits around the proton. So there's an electromagnetic field between these two. So the black hole at the bottom of our star here and the Earth's magnetosphere created from this black hole here, you want to think of that as being similar. So there's a big magnetic wave coming out like that could connect to the Earth as well. Similar, okay? So it would it would create a huge electromagnetic field. So the science they talk about the magnetosphere. So they know that the sun creates this big, huge bubble around the solar system called the magnetosphere. The magnetosphere is the element time. Everything inside the magnetosphere can be rewound at the quantum subatomic level or fast forward. So the magnetosphere is time. So it's basically this black hole here at the bottom of the star, and it creates a big bubble around the entire solar system. Now, because it's sending out this big giant electromagnetic wave around the solar system, the same principle could be thought of as here, because this has a black hole here, so there's probably a slight connection to that there, and there's probably other connections to the other planets in the solar system because of the black hole in each planet. But science can't see it, like they can't measure it because it's invisible. So you want to think of our sun as having this big magnetic field connected to our planet like that. As the planet goes around, that magnetic field, it kind of further protects the Earth from the sun's damaging UV rays and the electrons and the protons that come sailing off it. Some of them get caught in this electromagnetic field, and then the Earth's magnetosphere catches some of those electrons and protons as well, and the UV damaging UVB rays. So you want to think of this giant magnetic field created by the sun and the planet as being a large electricity, because science is aware of solar flares. Those are solar flares. They contain a lot of electricity. So when a solar flare leaves the planet, it comes flying over here. When it hits us, it electrifies the magnetosphere, and it creates the northern lights. But if it's powerful enough, it can actually create an electromagnetic pulse and disable our electrical grids. That happened here a long time ago. I would say about 21 years ago, almost 20 years ago, we had a big electromagnetic pulse like that. Our community was shut down for, I think, 5-7 days. We were without hydro because all the hydro lines got disrupted by that solar flare that hit us. So there's a lot of electricity that can be generated from the sun, which is being generated from that black hole. So that huge electromagnetic field being generated by the sun is what you want to think of being as equivalent to the spaceship here. So whatever that electromagnetic field is here, it's equivalent, basically, it would be equivalent to 11 nuclear fusion reactors. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then you got one in the middle, that's 9, and then you got one on the top, 10 and 11. So you want to think of that electricity of this electromagnetic field is being equivalent to 11 nuclear fusion reactors. That's why they put 11 in there. So at our stage here, that electricity, it's a lot. That's a lot of electricity that can be generated by 11 nuclear fusion reactors. A lot. So over here is the atom. So if you shrunk that spaceship down to the size of an atom, like here's that spaceship in our solar system here, that spaceship. So the 11 nuclear fusion reactors is equivalent to that electromagnetic field being generated by the sun and the Earth. It's the same. That's why that UFO is there. So that electricity here generated by the UFO matches this electromagnetic field. So if we took that UFO and we shrunk it down like that movie Ant-Man to the quantum subatomic level and placed it right here in the orbit of a hydrogen atom, the 11 nuclear fusion reactors in that particular UFO would be producing the same amount of electricity as that hydrogen atom is producing here. So the hydrogen atom here, that Earth proton and fire electron, it produces the exact same amount of electricity as our sun and Earth does. So both of these are the same. This one is up here, way up here, in the normal realm. whereas this one is way down low in the quantum realm. But the electricity is the same, but you have to shrink your ship down to feel that large electricity. If science had the technology and they were to measure that electricity here of a single hydrogen atom, you wouldn't even be able to register it because of the voltage being so low. It would be, you're talking nano on the scale of nanovolts, right? Like I think a volt is like, I don't even know what a volt is, but you guys know what a volt is, right? Like it's a battery, the power that a battery is. You want to think of the voltage of this thing here being like so low that you can't even register how low it is in terms of electromagnetism, because we don't have technology to measure how much that is. However, if we could shrink down to that size, it would be equal to our solar system. That's why I've drawn the solar system here and this larger size atom, so that you can get a better understanding that the electricity produced up here is the same as the electricity produced down there. But to feel it, you'd have to shrink your spaceship down to the size of a hydrogen atom. And then if you did that, that electricity would be equivalent to 11 nuclear fusion reactors, just like it's equivalent to 11 nuclear fusion reactors up here. So that's why there's 11 nuclear fusion reactors in there. There's a quantum entanglement with that nano voltage here, or the nanoscale voltage. And because there's hydrogen atoms throughout the entire universe, that's what this is here. So there's an invisible electromagnetic field here, all in these little circles. It looks like that. There's an electromagnetic field in there. Is that electron spins around and it's creating an electromagnetic field in all these hydrogen atoms in the universe. And because that reactor has 11 nuclear fusion reactors, which is equivalent to the electricity being produced at the quantum scale inside of these hydrogen atoms, it can ride a wave of hydrogen, what do you want to call it? Magnetism and electricity. So the magnetic field right there. So the magnetic field here, it can ride the universe's entire hydrogen's electricity and electrical field and magnetic field at the quantum scale. So it's using the hydrogen atoms to move around in the universe as a form of different transportation. Basically, it's riding those atoms the same way as the spaceship rides these invisible electromagnetic radiation waves. It's the same principle, only our spaceships ride the quantum scale, or the quantum electricity and magnetism of the hydrogen atoms in the universe. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that, because grandfather, he moves the universe. So the reason why there's no gravitational issues is that, I want to think of this, the universe as being what moves. So as that spaceship is moving, the universe is what's moving. So if that spaceship was moving this way, the universe, this one here, is moving this way, like that. So perhaps this other one would be a little better, like this. So you wanna think of the universe there is moving. So it's moving like that. So that the universe moves, and as it moves, the spaceship moves along that field line. As the universe moves like that, that's how the spaceship moves. So the spaceship, it doesn't move at all relative to space, but rather, or relative to the hydrogen in the universe, the universe moves like that. which propels that spaceship. Meaning you don't suffer any gravitational issues because you can fly anywhere in the universe, I'm told, within 20 minutes to an hour. Anywhere. So that's the secret to these newer model spaceships. And you notice how it has copper around there like that? Well, the shell of the spaceship here, it's made of I forget the name of that. I think it's called neodymium. Neodymium is the most powerful magnets you can have. So it incorporates neodymium at the molecular level to create a very magnetic shell. So basically, as this thing's flying through the cold regions of space, it's a superconducting magnet. So that superconducting magnet combined with these fusion reactors is what makes it a superconducting magnet. And that allows it to ride that magnetism at the quantum scale anywhere in the universe. Now, the other secret is these little particles, that's my spirit. That's my spirit there that's generating this magnetism and this electric field. It's my spirit that is that magnetic field. So there's a connection to the quantum computer in the spaceship because I'm the electricity in the computer. Basically, if you wanted to tell the spaceship to fly to any one of the 1,408 planets in the Milky Way, my spirit knows exactly where those planets are, and it would fly there, utilizing these hydrogen atoms. It doesn't need to fly along there like evil does. So we can just, if we wanted, we could just fly like up here above that wave, anywhere in the Milky Way. So grandfather is the hydrogen atom and the magnetism and the electricity. He is also the electricity and the quantum computers in these machines, and he's the black holes inside of the nuclear fusion reactor. So that's this here. So this is grandfather here, and that's grandfather. It's a massive black hole. He's that one as well. Time. I'm also that Gaia. I'm also that at the center of the moon, and I'm the black holes in there. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of these things that I'm at. That's a movie called The Big Hero 6. So I'm all 6 of these black holes, and grandmother's all 6 of those black holes in her universe. So over here, she's all 6 of those black holes, or 7, I should say. She's 7 because she's those little black holes in the microwave, so that they can still cook their food that way. Since mankind doesn't have those yet, I'm not that black hole yet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 microscopic black holes. This doesn't have black holes, but that's me. That's my element there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm Big Hero 6. Oh, that's the same with grandmother, so she'd be all of these too in her universe, 6. So, being the microscopic black holes in the nuclear fusion reactors, so as these things are, as the plasma is dissipating into there, it's opening up, and it's a microscopic black hole. It's dissipating and connecting back down to the quantum level of these hydrogen atoms. So the hydrogen that's being compressed into plasma in the hydrogen in the engine here, it exits through a microscopic black hole. That microscopic black hole is me in the engine here. So the microscopic black hole in there, it enters these hydrogen atoms in the universe. So there's a quantum entanglement with the nuclear fusion reactor there to the hydrogen atoms there. You want to think of that black hole as being connected to the hydrogen in the universe. So it's like a loop. So the hydrogen up here connects to the dissipating plasma exits through a black hole there, but it's connected back to the hydrogen here. So this is my grandfather. These engines is grandfather's spirit, and this hydrogen is grandfather's spirit. Quantum computers, grandfather's spirit, and so this hydrogen. So there's a closed loop there. So most times, normally these microscopic black holes, they would connect to here. They would connect to this thing here, to the microscopic black holes in a nuclear fusion reactor. Normally they connect to these waves here, and then that microscopic black hole plasma, it's connected to that wave, is what also helps propel it along there. But that doesn't happen here. So the microscopic black hole plasma dissipating is connected to the hydrogen atoms at the quantum field level. So now we're going to look at the spaceship design. So it's a superconducting magnet, but on the inside here is like it's a big turning circle, because if we were flying through interstellar space and we stopped, in between here and Andromeda, we just stopped, we would need gravity, because the universe is normally what propels us along, right? So if all of a sudden, we're moving along there, and then we stop, the universe has stopped, which means the spaceship no longer has gravity. So we have to imitate that gravity. So if we stopped in the middle of Andromeda in the Milky Way, we would turn on this centrifugal inner core here. So it begins to rotate like this. So here it will begin to rotate like that inside of there. And as it's rotating, it's generating electricity, and it allows the people to walk around the outside. So here you can walk around the outside, and here you walk around here. It's like gardening, food. This is for water, for drinking water, or feeding the plants. So you would walk around the perimeter. You could walk around there, and that's artificial gravity. This would probably be the residential units here on the outside. And then there'd be one here for food. Those little green things are like food, hydroponic food, which derives the water from here and for drinking and bathing. And then that's if we stopped in interstellar space, or if we were waging war on one of the evil civilizations, we could sit up here. So we don't need to sit on the magnetosphere here. We could sit up here. Like we could sit halfway between the moon if we wanted, So this here. So like the planet's here, and then there's the wave here to the moon. We don't need to sit here. Our spaceships can sit over here, and they can sit over here, over here, over here, and over here. They don't need that invisible electromagnetic radiation. And we can shoot our railguns at that planet. Safe. Without, fear of the planet, trying to shoot their projectiles at us. Because if they shoot a projectile, well, we just got to move out of the way over here. And that projectile is just going to continue going out into interstellar space. So we could just move around the planet like that and continue to bombard it until every single person on that evil planet is gone. So we don't need to ride that wave. We can sit in interstellar space, but to do that, we need artificial gravity, and that's what that's about. So we'd be walking around there while we're bombarding these evil planets, and that's the plan, mankind. That's exactly what we're going to do. That's what these are here. These are engines powered by the nuclear fusion reactor. So when we're positioning ourselves in space here around the planet, those engines, they can push the ship like that. So this engine can push the ship through space. In case there's a railgun projectile coming our way, then that engine would fire and it would move out of the way of the projectile. But not only that, we can we can focus the electricity of these reactors on a particular side of the spaceship, like over here. We could transfer the electricity over to this side of the neodymium magnets and create a really strong force field there. So it would create a strong force field on this front of the ship here, and it would actually catch that projectile. That projectile would stop. It wouldn't even hit the ship. So that's why it has these 8 engines or 10 engines. This top one, it can push the UFO down. The bottom one can push it up. And these ones push it left, right, back, forth, and diagonally. And so that's these engines. They have they're a 3-stage engine. They use hydrogen, or the hydrogen from this water tanks here. That's what these water tanks are. So the power to power these engines comes from the hydrogen in those tanks. So there's a mechanism by which the hydrogen gets transferred, or the water, the H2O gets transferred into hydrogen. The oxygen powers the center part here. So when these engines are taking that out, we can power the internal mechanism with oxygen. Or we could take oxygen from this tank here and turn it into oxygen. Recycle it back in. So these engines, they have there's a plasma, an ion, laser, and there's 4-stage engines. So the hydrogen is ignited, which creates thrust, but then we also add in ions, like an ion engine, which is just ion engine, and then we superheat the ion and hydrogen thrust with lasers to create another form of propulsion. So there's the ion thruster, then the plasma. So we create plasma. So there's plasma, there's ion, there's laser, and then there's hydrogen. So they're a 4-stage engine. The hydrogen fires first, is superheated by the plasma, which is superheated by ions, or superheated by lasers, and this last stage is the ion. First stage is hydrogen, second stage is plasma, third stage is lasers to superheat the plasma and the hydrogen with lasers, and then the 4th stage is ion thruster. So they're pretty efficient 4-stage rocket engines to move the spaceship. So the next is the rail guns. There's 3 different size rail guns here. These bigger ones are Planet Busters. They're about the size of a missile. Like, you want to think of a missile. Like, they're probably about 2 feet in diameter. 2 feet is like that. That's probably how big the projectile would be. And it'd probably be about 11 feet long, give or take, 10 feet long. So that's the big one. Then the middle one's a bit smaller. Those are about 6 inches in diameter. Then these other ones are like 2 inches in diameter. These ones are for shooting like a Gatling gun. These ones are a little bit higher rate of fire, less than the Gatling gun. So the 6-inch projectiles, you want to think of those being fired at, maybe couple hundred rounds a minute. This bigger one might be like 50 rounds a minute. This one here is like 1,000 rounds, the Gatling gun, a minute. So here, the belts here, they go all the way around the circumference of this UFO. And these UFOs are 10 miles in diameter. So the diameter here is like 31.4 miles, right? That's how much ammunition that UFO carries. But not only that, it goes around and around and around like a slinky. You want to think of the belt being like a slinky. That's how the ammunition is stored in the UFO, like a slinky. Yeah. There's roughly 20,000 miles of ammunition in one of these spaceships. So that there's plenty of ammunition to wage war against the 1,408 evil civilizations in our Milky Way. So that's what these are here. These are the different size bullets, and they all wrap around in a UFO like a slinky, like that, to create 20,000 miles of ammunition. So it will go around like that and around and around and around and around and around and around and around. I have these at 66 stories tall, or they're roughly 660 feet tall. These UFOs. This doesn't do it justice. This height here is I have it at 66 stories. Normally these UFOs, like the good guys UFOs, they're 99 stories tall. Ours, I've shortened them down to 66 stories, but made them wider, like 2 miles wider, and made them shorter. So make them wider but shorter. Um, so that's how this technology works here. And that's what the spaceships look like. That's exactly what they look like. They're 10 miles wide, 660 feet tall. They have these 10 engines on them. They have 11 nuclear fusion reactors. They don't need invisible electromagnetic radiation to ride along that wave, because they can fly through anywhere they want using the hydrogen's electromagnetic field at the quantum scale. And they have an internal centrifugal living quarters for when they stop. If they stopped in interstellar space, they could turn that on. It's basically used for war purposes. Like I said, here, if we're positioning ourselves between the moon and the planet, like here, then we need to turn that centrifugal force on, because there's nothing out there to create gravity. If we were to wage war here and sit on the planet's magnetosphere, so the magnetosphere is up here. It's a magnet. We could sit on that thing here, and there'd be gravity. We wouldn't need to turn on the centrifugal force field generator, gravity generator. We could just sit on the magnetosphere and shoot our rail projectiles down. So that means this here, instead of walking around the outside, our people would be walking around normally like this, and they'd be shooting their projectiles down from up here, because this is the magnetosphere. There's still gravity here. They don't need to turn on the force. You sit down. Basically, we could divert these 11 nuclear fusion reactors to the bottom of the UFO, and it would create a force field underneath there that would repel or catch any projectiles being shot up from the Earth. It would catch it because the size of the electromagnetic field being generated by the 11 nuclear fusion reactors. So the thing is, these UFOs, they're only designed to be operated by one person. A person here on planet Earth operates it through a video game. That's the way we've designed these. The spirits have created the video game. They know exactly what the bad guys' planets look like, where everything is positioned, so that when we go over there, a person here just puts on a virtual reality headset, picks up a video game controller, takes control of one of these UFOs, flies over to the evil planet next door, and just totally annihilates it with 20,000 miles worth of ammunition until that planet ceases to exist. So I'm told we either have 1 million of these UFOs or 100 million UFOs. I don't know yet. I won't know until we see them. 1 million is probably all we need, but 100 million, that just seems like overkill, but who knows? We'll see. So they're all self-sustaining. Like you don't even need a pilot to control them, because they're all radio frequency controlled. And so the video game basically we'd have to send a signal out, RC signal, to fly these things around, and there would be 8 of them, because there's 8 parallel universes. So you'd be controlling the person that's controlling the one here. So that's the brain, the lungs, the heart. This is the heart. So as they're controlling this UFO in this universe here, these 8 are all interlinked with that same UFO, and would go to the same planet at the exact same time and destroy it. all controlled by one person here. One person that's controlling eight UFOs and 8 different parallel universes to get rid of these evil dummies forever. So that's what the UFO looks like. That's how it works. That's the plan. So, you know, I'll touch on a little bit more on the Einstein-Rosen bridge and how they, in theory, could get in here without even me having to do the running. If, if that's already complete, like if I've already ran long enough and this thing's already like that, they could come in here at any moment if they want. Maybe what are they waiting for? I would assume that they're waiting for mankind to be told about these spaceships, because I know that you guys have no idea that these things exist. Mankind doesn't know, and nor do my sleeper cell children. You don't know that these exist, but you're learning that they do. So I wonder if I got any videos to associate with this one. Oh, let me think. I would go with You Spin Me Right Round. You Spin Me Right Round. I think it's called Dead or Alive that sings that. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Because these 1408 civilizations, they didn't want to play ball. Now they have to be eliminated. So I'll play that song after this, and if I can play some other ones, I'll play some other ones. But that's the technology, how it works, and what's coming here, guys. I might add, if anything bad happens to me, that's what you can expect to come here to resurrect me. Like that. So please don't do anything stupid to harm me.